Do you love delicious custard? This might be the recipe for you. It is a delicious vintage maple custard recipe from the 1950s. We're gonna jump right into the recipe, and way later on when this is done, we will jump into the details of the book where this came from. But come along with me and I'll show you how to get started on this easy, delicious recipe. Yummy custard. I wonder what is inside. Delicious. So the first part of this recipe is scalding the milk. And you may ask, what is scalding? We don't want to burn it. But it's kind of an old-fashioned term. It just means that you want to get the milk really hot but not boiling. So there's not going to be any bubbles here. I'm going to turn on the heat, not to boil, but just kind of a higher heat. And you can stir it if you want, but you just want to kind of see it steaming. You can touch it with a clean finger and make sure it's really hot, but make sure it doesn't boil. And then we're going to take it off the stove and let it cool down. I'm going to do the scalding part off camera, so I'm not wasting time for you, and we'll get on with the custard recipe. So now that our milk is scalded and it is kind of resting for a moment and cooling down, we're going to mix the first few ingredients here. There's really very few ingredients in this recipe. We just have 3 eggs, and then 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then we have a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt or whatever salt you like. And we're just gonna whisk that together and get that nice and incorporated here in this bowl. And since I just finished making that scalded milk, I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes off camera, and then we are going to be going on to the next step. Alrighty, so our scalded milk has cooled down a little bit. I just let it sit off to the side of the stove for about 5 minutes. So now to our egg, sugar, vanilla, and salt mixture, we're gonna slowly stream in the scalded milk. This is so yummy. Let me know in the comments down below if you love custard or egg and milk type, or custard or pudding type desserts. Those I know are my brother's favorite. He doesn't tend to like cake, but he loves custardy desserts or frozen desserts. Those are so good, and this is the dessert that my son picked out of this cookbook for today. So yes, that is all mixed in. So now that it is all mixed together, we're going to be straining it in the next step. In the next step, you want to have a fine mesh strainer. I like to have it fit a glass or plastic measuring cup, so that you can pour it straight into the custard cups, which is the next step. So let's get that in there. This way it ensures that any little bits of egg are strained out and it's nice and smooth and delicious. So this is an important step. And also if there's any accidental eggshells. It's a good thing to do. So now that is all smooth, we're gonna move on to our custard cups. So in the next step, you want to have a kind of, this is a roasting pan, but any pan where you can put hot water around the custard cups so that they steam properly in the oven. We have the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I did grease these because this is a molded custard and we're gonna be unmolding it onto a plate. So for the maple custard, we're gonna put a tablespoon of pure maple syrup in the bottom of each of these custard cups. Let me know if you love maple flavor. I'm kind of wondering if you could, use those flavored coffee syrups for this recipe too. If you like any of those flavors, I bet that totally would work. Almond, coconut, even peppermint for a holiday one. There's a lot of flavors, so it'd be fun to experiment. I'm gonna swirl this around and make sure that the whole bottom is covered in that syrup, because that will also help it slide out onto the plate when we want to plate these. So we're gonna move on to the next step, which is putting some hot water on here, and I'll tell you all about that in a moment. Actually, the next step is to put the custard in. We kind of need the custard in there, right? So let's pour a little bit in each mold, about halfway up, more or less. We'll try to divide this into 6 servings as best we can. Make sure your custard molds are oven safe and they're meant to be at a higher temperature so that they don't crack in the oven. Alrighty, so let's get that divided up. That looks so good. I'm so excited. This is like a slightly simpler version of flan, which I absolutely love as well. All right, so let's get that in there. All right, so we're ready to go. I'm going to show you how I like to situate the hot water in here and what I do in just a moment. Here we are at the stove again, because while I was making the custard, I had this pot of hot water on the stove so that it would be ready for this step. And what I'm going to do is pour a little bit of this in here in the pan. Just, don't worry if it spills a little bit. But we're gonna just pour a little bit of that in there. I'm going to carefully get this into the oven. I want it to be as close to the oven as possible because this is really hot water. And then we're going to carefully pour a little bit more in there when we get it to the shelf of the oven. Ooh, yummy! Yummy, yummy, yummy. Our custards are almost done. We're just about ready to check them. So now that we have the custards in the oven, it's time to check out the book. If you are a vintage cookbook nerd like me, you love this part. But if you're just in it for the recipe, no worries at all. But this is a book that my cousin gave me, the Duncan Hines Dessert Book. And it's so cute. It is from the 1950s. So this is from 1955. And I found out that Duncan Hines was a professional taster. That is a job that I want. How do you get that job? So anyway, I guess he wrote some guidebooks, Vacation Guide, Lodging for a Night, Adventures and Good Eating. I had no idea. And so anyway, it kind of gives a cute introduction. And then these are his recipes. And of course we know the cake mixes and things like that. But I did not know he's a professional taster. That sounds like so much fun. So this is a baked custard recipe. This is a variation that we're making, the baked maple custard, but then we have to also go back to the molded custard, and we're using 3 eggs. So it's kind of a combo of 3 recipes here, but very easy, very simple. I just love that this book is has a lot of fun recipes. They are all desserts. But then there's also some pancakes and things like that in here. So a lot of fun stuff to explore, and I love these kind of old faded books because it means there's great treasures to be found in these. And here's a picture of Duncan Hines, the man himself. treasures you can now share. So hope you enjoyed this fun introduction to the book, and then we'll see how our custard turns out. So our custards are out of the oven. Look how beautiful they are. And I'm going to show you how I unmold these. I already did one, but I'll do this one to show you. So I just run a sharp knife around the edges, and then we want to kind of put the pleat on top and flip it real quick because there'll be that yummy syrup there. And then voila, it is done. It looks so good. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and stay tuned to see what the family thinks of the taste of this delicious maple baked custard. Oh, we are here to try the maple custard that Adam chose.
It looks delicious. It looks like a flan.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Kind of like a light flan, I think.
Ooh.
From texture? Duncan Hines in 1955, I think.
The person or the company?
Oh, the person.
Wow.
Wow. Adam approved.
This is so good.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
I found out he was a professional taster. I want that job.
That sounds fun.
I guess we are too, really.
Oh, it's a delightful custard. The maple. Yeah, it's like maple flan. It's delicious.
Yeah,
Amazing.
This is very flan-like. It's so good.
High quality stuff.
Excellent choice. I would make this again. Enjoy, guys. Definitely
Delicious.
try the recipe.